was on the field. What happened on the field?
I think we all heard the whistle. It sound like a whistle. But of course, if you're not sure, I'm thinking because few players stopped. But of course, Penny was smart enough because he was on the ball. He thought, no, but that didn't sound like a proper whistle that's on the field. And then he went on and scored.
Called me, I was the one person he could call. I asked him, why did you call me? He's like, he said, because, and it wasn't because I was the captain, he says, because anyone else would have called the coach, but I know you wouldn't. And I took him and whatever, and long story short, the player then went on to go to Europe and all those things.
And we are back on iDiski Dine. Welcome to the third episode of iDiski Dine, where we are dining with the stars. And that's what we love to do, to just, sit down in the machita and have a little something to eat. And this time around, look, the table is full of leaders. It's full of people who will get you goals, people who will stop goals as well. I'm one of the ones who's stopping goals. If you didn't know, I'm a goalkeeper professional. Yeah. What do you mean?
We are not sure about that, brother.
It's fine. I didn't go pro like you guys, but thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming through. Happy, you've invited these two guests over here.
Yeah,
let us know, why do you have these two gentlemen and who are they?
My brother, Obi. I've got good stories about these two gentlemen here. This guy is a leader by born. When you are born for a leader.
He's a soldier, this man.
He's a soldier.
Sure.
And I'm privileged, to play against him. And
You never scored against me, ne?
I've scored.
I was marking you.
No.
Okay, that's it.
That's good enough.
Yeah, Ricardo Katza.
Sure.
Great leader, was playing for Supersport. Great human being. Chukucha. Yeah, I'm Chukucha. This is my brother. He comes from Hammanskraal.
Sure.
Timbisa. I know him from...
Hammanskraal and Timbisa?
Yeah.
Oh, I know Hammanskraal.
Timbisa. Timbisa money.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So from Hammanskraal, where my grandmother comes from.
I see.
Yeah, so it's a guy that I know him from long time when he was playing for Tuks.
Sure.
And he joined Orlando Pirates, we become closer and closer. Even now, we're still close.
Sure.
So, yeah, best left footer, brother. One of the best left footer in the country. Yeah?
We'll talk about it.
Why are you looking at me? I knew you were going to look at me.
Aubrey Ngoma.
How's it,
It's
Aubrey?
okay, we'll give it to you.
We're good, Aubrey, we're good. Thank you so much for coming through, man.
No, thanks. Thanks for having me.
One thing we have to do, we need to start off with a game. I like games. You said I like games because I was born after apartheid.
Post-apartheid, yeah. Too much playful.
We've got a game called Football ABC. We're going to treat it like 30 seconds, right? I've got 5 questions for you, Ricardo. Happy's got 5 questions for you, right? Okay. I'm going to ask Ricardo 5 questions, and so basically it's A, B, C, D, E, right? I think you remember this game. I played this one with you.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
All right, I've got 30 seconds for you. You're just going to answer 5 of these questions,
okay.
Right? You ready?
Let's go.
A stadium in Cape Town previously used by Ajax and Santos.
Atlant Stadium.
Sure. Okay. B, a defunct team that used to be based in Mpumalanga.
Raguses.
Cool stuff. C, yes. Full name of a coach that coached Platinum Star, Supersport United, Black Leopards, and Kaizer Chiefs.
Full name?
Yeah, C.
Yo.
Okay, D, full name of a Bafana international left back that left Kaizer Chiefs to join Sundowns in 2004.
No.
All right, the time is up.
No, it's fine.
The answer was David Kanameya.
I'll take it.
The answer was David Kanameya. So you've got 2 out of 3. The answer for C was Kevin Johnson.
Let's go, the Tiger!
I'm ready for you. All right.
Aubrey Ngoma. F. Say name of a South African footballer that played for Lazio.
Played?
For Lazio.
For Lazio. Skip.
G. First name of a legendary Italian WC winning goalkeeper.
World Cup winning goalkeeper.
Gianluigi.
Yeah.
Okay. Each surname of a player scored the winning goal in AFCON 24 final. Zakala.
For Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's got it?
Guys, the time is up.
Yes.
It's Halle.
Oh, Sebastian.
Sebastian Halle. Sebastian Halle is the answer. But I told you I was going to get Gianluigi.
Yeah.
He thought you wouldn't know Gianluigi.
Oh, I know my players.
It's fine.
He knows his players. Happy.
Why am I being asked only surnames?
No, because I get now it's ABC.
Part of the game.
So you need to answer with the letter that we add.
But it's a game.
Part of the game.
Game.
You don't like losing.
Yeah, but no, the problem is why am I only asked surnames? He got asked stadium, the coach. Me is
but
just
you
surnames.
got questions.
I know you can name the full name.
Yeah, but why is it only names?
Aubrey, you complain about something else. It's fine. We'll play another game. Let's get into the conversation.
There's no comment in the results column.
One, it's over. Gentlemen, let's get into the conversation. The conversation really that we wanted to have was around Cape Town football and some of the conversations that have been around it. And starting with you, Ricardo, of course, coming out of Mitchell's Plain, a place where we hear a lot about on the stories and all of that on the news rather. Coming out of a place like Mitchell's Plain, Westridge to be specific, how was the upbringing like in that community?
Yeah, look, Cape Town. I think it was more just survival. I think because where we came from before we got to Mitchell's Plain was a Noah Park, which was like where Penny came from and all the big gangsters, So moving into a more classier area, but still same crime, same drugs, same gangsterism, all those things, it's still the same. If your house situation wasn't good, you would end up doing everything else. But on my case, my house situation was good, and I still ended up doing all those things because of the friends and it's not peer pressure. I think it was just I made the decision that I wanted to do all those things. So never had ambitions. A lot of people don't know this, but I never wanted to be a footballer.
What did you want to become then?
I actually retired when I was 14, so I started when I was 12. And I think I was great. At that time it was standard 9. When I was 14, stopped playing football. And I only started again when I was 20. And then at 6 months later, I turned pro.
What was the reason for you to stop playing football at that time?
I wanted to ask the same question.
So again, you go to school, you get taxi fare, but now you don't take the taxi, you keep the money, you buy cigarettes, you walk, and then you meet people, and then realize that your parents are not at home, so you don't have to rush home. You can actually come home later, and that's where you start getting involved in things. I never did sport on school as well. Sure. Like, those years, those youth years, 14, 16, those years? I never had that. I just stopped. I retired, and then, I thought that was the lifestyle. I too retired. It's like the two-pot system. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get some plates so we can be able to plate up? Sure. Looks good.
Yeah,
So to retirement from football.
From football, yes.
Yeah, ne? It was not there by Cup start, ne?
That's good, though.
It was good. Okay.
Aubrey, you weren't born in Cape Town, but you had your best years down there in terms of football, and I guess we'll get down to that. But coming out of Hammanskraal, as Umpenchi said, Etembisa. I didn't know what to do Etembisa in Hammanskraal. Etemba. Oh, Etemba, you see. Etemba. How was it growing up in Etemba? Because we do know that you had to leave at a very young age to go to Pretoria, which we'll get to, but growing up, your formative years in there, from coming in that environment, how would you explain it?
Well, just to clear it, I'm from Ramots in Hammanskraal, but there's Temba as well. Oh, okay. Yeah, but I'm from Ramots. Yes. No, Temba is like the popular area in Hammanskraal. Okay. But yeah, of course it was difficult. I mean, looking at the fact that, there's not a lot of players being produced from Hammanskraal, by Hammanskraal. There are talented players, but we don't have a lot of exposure that side. So that's what made it difficult for me, because I was ambitious, and my goal was to play in the PSL, to play professional. And I think, you know, having to dream that far, knowing that, you know, the surroundings are not as comfortable for you, but eventually, you know, if you put your mind to something, eventually it happens. And I'm glad.
Glad it went not the way
So
it is.
what makes you think of playing soccer from a Kasi? Because as a Makasu, it is Pumagu, most of the time it's difficult to get exposure, you know. Thank you.
I think we've come to know that South African townships, the most popular common sport is football. Sure. Because that's what we did. And remember, back in those times, there was not a lot of social media. So it's either you at a park somewhere playing football, or you at home doing home chores. So, you know, I'd settle for going and playing football, because that's what we do from as I wake up in the morning, 9 o'clock, it's football until I come back home late. So, so that actually what drove me to aspire to be a professional, because that's all I did when I was growing up.
So, Ricardo, at 14, you retired, but there must be somebody who was like, no, this is not the life you're supposed to be living. Who was that individual, and what was the turning point for you to actually go back to playing football?
Yeah, so also growing up in a mixed religion home, because my dad is Muslim, my mom is Christian. So at my mom's house it was very strict, because that's where all the church people, you know. But at my dad's house it was a bit more relaxed, and he just wanted me around, you know, took care of me. Like, my best memories was with my dad, you know, taking me out and all those things. But it was like, for me, everything changed on the 29th of December 1996. That's when I came out to Jesus. I got born again. And then I had to make a decision. So Dad said to me, because what happened was, everyone go sleep in the house, in the Muslim house. I took my Bible out, go in the bathroom, go read it, and then come back. This is like at 11 at night, 11 o'clock. And then one day when I got home, my dad sat with the Bible and says, "Hey, what's happening here?" So I said, "No, I came out to Jesus." And he just looked at me, and then graciously gave me a choice. He says to me, "Chop, it's either you stay and, you know, or you leave." And I said, "Dad, I love you, but I've made this decision." And I remembered I took two plastic bags. I went to my cupboard, everything that fit into it, I put it in, and I took a walk. My grandma stayed about 1 kilometer away. When I opened the door, you know, they said they were praying for this day. No, sorry. But they said they were praying for this day. So then I knew I was at the right place. I made the right decision. It was the easiest decision, though, to make, because as much as I loved my dad, I knew that I made that decision. So fast forward, 2 years later, 1998, my uncle worked in town, drove past Greenpoint Stadium. He stopped, spoke to Gavin, and he says, "There's a boy that's at home that loves playing football." I didn't love playing football. And then he just said, "There's a boy that loves playing football." And then, I went for trials as a striker on the Sunday morning.
7 stars.
Never touched the ball. Got called back on the Wednesday to play in the midfield against David Modise. I didn't know who he was. Sure. I signed my first professional contract the next day.
The next day?
Yeah.
So you went for training for 1 day?
For 1 day, yes. Gavin was the coach. And then never touched the ball, but he called me back.
So you played striker, you got back,
Called me back.
you played midfielder, but you made your career playing as the back.
At the back, yes.
Yes.
He's a busy
So I think that's God was just, he's got a sense of humor.
You know, like, you were blessed, you know, I can say you were blessed. The decision that you took by that time, and obviously your uncle to come and say, go to the Gavin Hunt for a training. It's blessing from God. Let's not take it away from that, because I feel like that's when things change for your life, you know, for the better, you know. Even now, you're a human being. The way I see you, the way I know you from a long time, you've been a great leader, a great human being, someone to talk to, you know, you are friendly. And we must thank your decision, or you must thank the God,
Yeah.
you know, the way He did it, you know. Because if it was not there, I should have not known you.
Sure.
Yeah. Because I remembered, and making that decision, I remembered. So also, I still honor my dad, you know, because it's your parent. And the Bible says you must honor your parents. You know, days will be longer. I'm 46. I feel like my days is gonna be longer. Anyways, and I remembered in that time before turning pro, I walked the same route where I took my bags and I walked. You know, one of the guys in the area that I grew up with, he was drugged, and they stopped next to me, and he said to me, and I can see the gun on his, and he says to me, "Where's our drugs?" So in my mind, it's like Happy, it's me, like it's me. That's what I said to him. It's like, can't you see it's me? But because he was drugged, and somehow I quietly just said, "God, please help me." And for a split moment, he said, "Oh, it's you." And then he told the guy, "Let's go." But I could see, I could see my life was just because I know them. I grew up with them and all those things, you know. So yeah, I'm grateful for my uncle Clive Katza. Up to today, still, if I need advice, I call him. You know, he's been a great role model to me. And yeah, and I also make sure that when we go to Cape Town, the first stop is always my dad's house. I take my kids there. You know, I honor my parents. I'm not upset with my dad or anything, you know. So yeah, and that's where my midfielder and then Talon Seppert broke his leg playing against Supersport in Pretoria, and I played left back for six months. I played left back, got Young Player of the Year.
One game you become a goalkeeper, eh?
Yeah, almost. It was you. The story is not about you, it's about us. But anyways, so that's
Picking up from difficult decisions that needed to be made at a young age. Aubrey, you were 15 when you had to leave home. At the age of 15, who had spotted the talent that you had at the time? And were you even thinking that at that point you had to leave home to be able to give into the stream of being a footballer?
I think the guy that actually spotted me, because we used to play at a park, and it wasn't a formal match. You know those games where you just beat each other. Yeah. So he saw me playing there. The guy's name is John Apiri. So he sees me playing there, and then he's like, "Who's that guy?" He knows, mind you, he knows all my brothers because we were four boys. He knew all the three of my brothers because I was the last boy. But he never knew me. He never thought that there was actually a fourth boy because he thought the last born was the brother that I come after.
So he didn't know you.
He didn't know me. So now someone tells him, "Oh no, that's so and so's brother, younger brother," and he's like, "Oh okay, I saw him play there. I think I need to do something for him," because at the time he was studying at Tuks, and he was playing this res league, and he knew the coaches there. So he recommended me to the coaches to come for trials. And I went there to trial under 15. And even this day, there's a guy I know, we got there, warm up. The coach said, "Okay," because there were a few of us, he says, "I want to see the trial list." And there's a guy that played right back on that day because I was playing left wing. Sure. He was registered, he was part of the team, yeah. Till this day, I thank him because I skinned him. I skinned him too. Took only that session for the coach to say, "Okay, you need to come, we need to talk, see the way forward." And that's when I started joining Tuks.
So you still remember the defender? Let's defend as I'm going to say,
Man, ngiyamtshela ukuthi thanks, my brother, for being a bit nicer. Yeah.
Jeez, man. Ricardo, let's go back to you because we're now at a point where you've went back into football. 7 Stars have now signed you. You're working under Gavin Hunt, which you were to do and in the future as well, which you'll get to. But at this present time, when you're at 7 Stars, I've heard a bit of conversations coming out of Cape Town that the merge between 7 Stars and Cape Town Spurs sort of took away what 7 Stars meant to the community. I want to hear it from you exactly. What exactly are we talking about when we speak about 7 Stars and its ethos?
So with the 7 Stars was the 7 townships in Cape Town, and I think that's where the name comes from. And obviously now with Ajax coming on board, And Cape Town, and now the merger happens, and now it became like this glamour club
Sure.
that was born out of the townships. Because that's what Seven Stars was. It was the 7 townships, the 7, and the Cape Flats and all those things. So, and then all of a sudden now, instead of wearing tracksuits, now you're wearing suits. You're wearing those
It's
shoes.
different now.
You know those shoes, you know the ones, you wear those shoes, and you got a phone now, because it was sponsorships. You had airtime. I remember 850. At that time, you still had to punch the airtime in. So now it's this glamour. And you're getting picked up now at home. Everyone comes out. Yeah, the branded bars and all those things, Now all of a sudden you go places and so it was this whole, and I think for me personally, I got caught up in that a little bit because I don't know if you guys know, but I played first division. In that same time signing for Ajax, 6 months later I went to go play first division because I was big-headed. I was on TV now. Hey, people are calling my name. You go to the mall all of a sudden, all of a sudden.
I know Ricardo.
Yeah, so I think what also happened was in the back of my mind, it's like, no, I'm born again, I don't have to work as hard as the others because God will, He's got my back and all those things, which is a big lie, born again or not. I think you need to work hard for what you want. You still have to work hard. So it was this glamour club, and then now it's still separate, David Kahnemeyer, all those guys, there's Sam Pam, I don't know if you remember Sam Pam.
Sam Pam, yeah.
Oh. Yeah,
But he used to kick that guy, yo.
Yeah, he used to kick. So, we go away to the wilderness, and then all of a sudden we're in the Ibiza Spectacular, because people at the office were calling in like the whole time, and Ajax was here, and now you're playing this, FNB Stadium, so poof, and then reality kicked in. First division, Avondale. Now you had to find taxi fare to go to work, and there's no training kit. There's no.
It's different now.
Different. But I think for me, that's where everything changed for me. And then God said to me, "You want to make a career? You have to work hard." And then, I started working hard, and then I went to.
I mean, that's a journey. It's a journey, especially.
And Hellenic was playing in the first division by that time, eh?
PSL.
By PSL, they were playing PSL.
Yeah.
So Gavin, when Gavin signed me, a couple of months later, he got fired. So then he went to Hellenic. So then when Ajax, so to say, fired me, because I remember John said to me that morning, "We don't need you anymore." Now, what was nice was because at the time I was, reading the Bible and all those things. And to me, that morning, I remembered God said to me, "One door closes, the next door will open." So when I went and John called me and he says, "We don't need you," I shook it and I smiled. He says, "Why do you smile? I just fired you." I says, "No." I said, "God said he's going to make a way for me." And then when I got home, Gavin was on the phone and I signed the next day 3 years.
And indeed, God was there.
And then he got fired again.
I can tell you a story.
Every time I got signed.
About Hellenic.
Every time I got signed.
I was spotted years ago under 12 or under 14, if I'm not mistaken. It was Transnet. And I was spotted by Gavin Hunt there in Cape Town. Yeah, we were playing in Cape Town, the tournament Transnet. I was supposed to come there to play. The time Gavin Hunt was the head coach.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Yeah?
How did it go?
I didn't go. They say they will call you. Don't call us. They'll call you.
Yeah. Ricardo, while we're still in the Cape Town thing, because it's apparent that things went back to the same way. So sort of a 360 when Cape Town City came into light, and this gentleman right next to us is one of the people who made Cape Town City what it was at the beginning. And my question would be, how true is that? And how valid is it to say that since Seven Stars has left, Ajax came through, things were different, but when Cape Town City came, things went back to the same way they were. How true is that from as you know it?
No, that it's the truth, because also what I would say was, I think when Rob Moore made Seven Stars, he had an idea of the 7 townships. And John was always this glamour, and now you saw the same thing. Like with Cape Town City, you see the sponsors and massive, big things. John is like glamour, sure. And it's the same thing. And I think I remembered when Ajax started, you'd see these Super 10 kumbis, driving in the townships and picking up kids. Now you have to take your kid there yourself, and a lot of people can't afford that. So now you're missing out on that, the road talent.
Yeah, the road
people
talent,
that
yeah.
can't come, you know. And I think that's where we're missing out also at times, because yeah, you get to miss these things. So what's nice about me is like, if you say to me tomorrow morning I need to be in Zimbabwe and there's 3-5-year-olds that I need to go see, and I'll do that, because I think that's where you get them, you know. And that has happened over the years. Now you have to take your kid there. Some people can't afford to do that, you know. Now you're missing out on that, and I hope that the club bosses, they see that.
I don't think they do, because then they would make, way for those type of things.
Yeah.
They would make way to have these players come through. Aubrey, you arrive at Tuks now. 15-year-old within the under 17, if I'm not mistaken, or under 16. Your journey then, working towards going to the first team, share that with us.
So I arrived at Tuks. I play under 16 in Pretoria League. We do well in that same season. I found the season in the middle.
Okay. This is when you arrived.
Yeah, that's when I arrived.
Sure.
I get to win Player of the Season.
Well, that's halfway.
Yeah, that time we
Under 15.
under 16 years.
You was 15 for an under 16.
Yes, we're training 3 times a week. We're training Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. Sure. So all those days now, I have to travel from Hammanskraal, catch a taxi after school, rush to training. Sure. And I was never late, by the way, for all those trainings. I arrive, train, gets dark, you have to rush, catch a taxi back home. When you get home, homeworks are waiting for you, my brother. There's no chance. And you have to wash dishes. It's like you have to live like a normal child, because when you're back from football, you're a child at home. So that happens for a year. Then the next year, we play under 17. Now it's called GDL, Gauteng Development League. That time it was called Joburg League. Okay. But we're in Pretoria. I don't know why it was called Joburg League.
It didn't make sense.
But now it's called
So you used
GDL.
to travel to Joburg and play?
Yeah, now we go to
Joburg
play.
teams.
Because now, from Hammanskraal, now I get to play against the so-called big development teams. Like we had to play Pirates, we have to play Vets, we have to play Supersport, play Sundowns, we play Chiefs. So for me, that's when I actually realized that I'm not far away from achieving my dream, my goals. That same year, I win Player of the Season. Okay. We play in a engine tournament. It was hosted by us that season, and we finish third, because we lose in the semi-final to Vets. Unfortunately, I'm the one who missed
The penalty. Yeah. What is this squad?
And I missed the winning penalty. I score my penalty, we win the game, we get to the final. But I guess it's some of those things that helped me up to be the player that I am. And then from there on, Tuks now starts realizing the potential of the player I could become, and they bring me in now to stay there. Yeah, at the campus. But before then, the year I was playing under 17. Now they put me in the academy to train because when you're in the academy, now you get to train in the mornings as well. And you go to school to Tuks, because they had a sports school where they accommodate athletes that have to train in the mornings. Yeah.
So like School of Excellence would be.
Yes. So now I still have to travel from Hammanskraal that time. I have to make 6 o'clock training.
In the morning. So how are you doing that?
Yeah, I used to leave home at 4.
So your training was 6?
Yeah.
Ubuye futhi esigele ugeleza ngada Hammanskraal.
No, we sing move to the school.
Okay.
So I go to school at Tuks. We train at 6. After breakfast, and then go to school. After school, back to training. After training, get my bags. I have to go home, back to Hammanskraal. I did that for about 6 months. Sure. It was tough. Yeah, it was the toughest period. Like later on, when I experienced a lot of things, I was like, it's not as tough, because then having to wake up at 3:30 to make training at 6, where I was never late, even once. Never late for 6 o'clock training.
Very disciplined player.
So from there on, I think I never. So now the team realizes that this is putting a bit of strain, and then they now bring me in. Now I stay at Tuks. Now it's easier for me to attend morning sessions. They pay the full package now. The Tuks basically takes over all the expenses. Yeah, now I'm a Tuks academy player. So now all of that, and from there I play Vodacom. It was called Vodacom. Now the ABC.
Give us a bit of the structure, because I'm hearing a lot of teams, especially once you get to another level where you are semi-pro, pro at Tuks. There's a team that is playing now in second division. Then there's another team playing in a lower division. Just explain the team structures for us at Tuks.
At Tuks, so from development, there's a league. I don't know what it's called now. Back then, it used to be called promotional league.
Before Vodacom.
Before Kase,
Kase.
for SAB.
Okay.
Yeah,
Or
so
local league.
yeah, it's called local league. Yes. So from under 17, I jump SAB. I go to ABC Motsepe. Yes. I play there for 6 months. Unfortunately, we get relegated to SAB. And I play SAB the following season. I play for 6 months. And then after 6 months, that's when now the coach promoted me to the NFD.
Which was the team that was...
So, ile team le angazi bathi wenzani ku semi-final. Awushama wisi.
That season.
That season.
Yeah, that was my second season.
That was your second season there. Jeez, we'll talk
What
about
happened?
that.
Tell me, brother. I want to hear this too. Because
He was on the field that day. He was on the field.
What happened on
I
that
think we all heard the whistle. It sound like a whistle. But of course, if you're not sure, I'm thinking because few players stopped. But of course, Penny was smart enough because he was on the ball. He thought, no, but that didn't sound like a proper whistle. That's on the field. And then he went on and scored.
Ricardo, let's come back to you because you're working with, you didn't get to work with Gavin too long at Hellenic, but you had a stellar time out there. Are you aware that Pitso Mosimane and Stan Matthews, for them to come and watch you play, are you aware that former Liverpool goalkeeper, Bruce Robela, was the one who told them about you?
Only found it out afterwards. Sure. Yeah, so when Bruce came, we fought, the 3 years I was at Hellenic, we fought for relegation for 3 years. I think God was preparing me mentally for Supersport. Yeah, 3 years. Like we were so we were 16, and then we were number 15 or something like that. Yeah, so remember there was still 18 teams in the league. So 16, and and then 14 when they changed it to 16. Also I think for me, I personally think that God was putting things in place for me to understand that. Remember I said to you guys, I never wanted to play football. It was never my dream, never my ambition, and I think He gave me something, and I used it. But certain things had to be in place, because when I got to Pretoria, it was just different. It was totally different. Now, instead of fighting for relegation, you try fighting for the league, and you play Champions League, and you got better players. And I remember my first day at training was on a Monday, and we did 8 laps. So you start outside on the track. Yeah, you start, and then you go. Yeah. And then you see Peter Kobani with this, like he looked like a ninja. He had this thing, and he was just going. I was like, what's happening? So me and Daniel Matsau came from Hellenic. Daniel was last that day, and I was second last. So you had to start on the outside 8, then you come 7 until. And then that Monday, I made up my mind. I said, I will never come last again. We did the same test on the Wednesday. I came 5th out of the 30 players. And that's when my whole mindset changes,
I've got a bit of a quote, and I wonder if you remember these words and who would have said these words. Ricardo has played more games than any other player at the club and missed only 1 game the whole season through injury. He's a soldier and a dedicated Hellenic man. I respect him, and I believe that he should have been honored by a Bafana call-up this season. You remember whose words those were?
No, I don't know. It's the first time I actually hear that.
That is Elijah Hadi Hadi Jackies.
Oh, the
Yes,
owners.
yes,
was the son.
yes.
Yeah, the son.
That's how highly they rated you.
Oh, I
during your
didn't know.
days.
I was fighting
You're
relegation
fighting
for 3
relegation,
years.
that's how they rated you.
But yeah, I remembered one of the players, his name was also Aubrey, left-footed. He came to the club. In 2 months, he got picked for the national team. And I was like, God, where are you? But then he, after 2 or 3 days, they sent him back. And then God said to me, he says, I don't want you to go and come back. And I remembered when I started playing in 2005 with the national team, the only time when I came back was when I retired from the national team in 2010. It was all like preparation for me and all those things. Just a side note though, just so that you guys know. So when I signed for 7 Stars, Dylan Seppert broke his leg. I played for 6 games. He couldn't come back. When I was signed for Hellenic, Zahim Bobs broke his leg. I played for 3 years in his position. When I came to Supersport, Temba Guni broke his ankle, and I played for 9 years. I'm not saying God is breaking people's legs for me to play. I'm just saying that there's ways that he opens the door. No, I didn't pray for it. I didn't pray for it.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Okay, what did you do? Because other people, they go to some other location to get something, and works for them. What did you do?
At the national team, Penny told his thing, I played. I'm not saying God is injuring people. I'm just saying that.
Okay, I want to ask you a question. It's almost a personal question. You remember on your days when players coming from Cape Town and playing in Joburg, they used to make it.
Yeah.
And currently, there's this rumor and say most players coming from Cape Town, they're very struggling in this side.
Yeah.
If you look at Reyners, he came to Supersport and he went back to Stellies again. Now he came back to Joburg.
Yeah.
How does it maybe differentiate from your days and these days players, current players?
Yeah, I think I would take it as far as some players goes to Europe and they're there for us and they come back and they get these big contracts in South Africa and his families here. And I think Cape Town, like from the colored community, we are very set in our ways. Like we feel like people have done us injustice and we've got this, I don't know if you know, but Pitso's playing is just before the beach. So it's like they couldn't put the colored people any further. It was like in front of the thing. Yeah. So we have this thing because I still see it in my parents. They stay in the same area. My mom, if she's not careful, she will get robbed from the people that stay next to her. That's how bad it is, but they will still stay there. Obviously me coming out of Cape Town, this is just personal. When I came to Johannesburg, I realized, your salary jumps. The players that you're playing with now is a different level. Now instead of kicking the ball, the coach wants you to come and play. It was tough. But then when you get it, you realize, okay, so I can actually make a little bit of money and I can make a career. And now for me personally, a lot of people said, I'm one of the players that broke that thing off from Cape Town and they go back, and whatever. I never felt it as a curse. I just thought it was a decision that you had to make. Because I can also say I was invited to a lot of things. We get invited, you get free access when everyone stands outside, you can walk in and. Yeah. But I made a decision not to go places, and I focus on my career, and that's it. I think it was a decision that I made, and I don't want that to be a curse. Where they say it's a curse. No, it's your choice. Because you can also then say where you come from. A lot of people who didn't make it now all of a sudden it's not because you made a decision. He said, it's so amazing that he was never late. For the 6 o'clock he was never late. For someone to say that, it says that he made a decision. So we all get opportunities and we made a decision. And maybe back in the day only certain people could do certain things, but now I think there's no excuse. I work at a school and I constantly say to my staff that because there's this color thing, you're in a private school and you see the color, and I always say to them, school starts at 7:15 for you and it starts 7:15 for me. There's no one coming in at later. So we're starting on the same level, and what you do with your time in the school, that's what you're going to get out. Same with football.
Aubrey, school, coming back to tertiary, where you were at Tuks. Let's speak about Steve Barker, because he is one of the best coaches in the country right now as we speak, right? And we could as far as say currently in the country, he's number one in the country with the ones in the country. You had to work with him at a very early stage of your career. And what we're seeing with Stellenbosch as well, where he currently is that he's bringing in these youngsters and they are very successful in their young development teams and they fit in seamlessly into the main team. How are you seeing it work out with you and him at Tuks? How big of a role did he play, making sure that you were as comfortable playing as the Aubrey Ngoma that we know?
Oh, he's played a very, very massive role in developing me into the player that I became, because he's the first coach that gave me a professional contract, and during my development days, trainings in the morning, it was with him. He's such a good trainer that you don't want to even go to school. The way you enjoying training, you don't want it to finish, because like his training methods are so good and enjoyable. He makes it a very enjoyable environment for the players. And that's what he used to do at Tuks. That's why, if you look at it, Tuks produced so many players back in the days. There's a lot of players that come from...
Remind us, you were in that team with
the Tuks structure.
Your team,
the one that you were with.
That went to Nedbank final. Your team, almost 70%.
Andile, Jali, Penyo, Mongala. You had Manti Muholo, went to Free State. You have Goodman Sawhati, went to Free State. You have Mtokozizi, and they went to Chiefs. So there were a lot of top players, but also in their development. You see how Steve Barker right now is producing those players from the academy. He used to do the same thing at Tuks. When he's in charge, I think he's got a very good eye for talent, because he can see at a young age that I've got a gem here, I need to look after it. And so that's why I don't think even now, he's worried about losing all these big name players, because I'm sure he's already seen one or two that are going to come from the development. He's such a very good coach.
So for you, what is happening is not a surprise, because you understand Coach Steve Barker, the way he do things from the earlier days.
I can tell you it's not a fluke. I think if you give him a chance to run things, to run things how he wants, he's good in that. He's good in giving youngsters a chance, because remember also our team was very young, and you can see now even Stellenbosch, there's always a teenager coming in, playing in the starting lineup. He's very good in that, giving the youngsters a chance. And I don't think it's a fluke. I can tell you 95% of the players that worked with him, they'll tell you he's a very good coach. They wouldn't mind having to reverse their years and play.
And play again.
Ricardo, you've now explained to us just now, and a brilliant question that was asked by Happy about the transition from Cape Town coming to Gauteng. I might be mistaken, but when you came to Supersport, 2004 and 5 was the first trophy, professional you've ever won.
Yeah.
That season, I don't know how you guys remember Supersport United in that time, right? Comparing it to now, they're not reaching as many finals as they used to at that point. What was so special about the Supersport United team? Because it was under Pitso Mosimane, young Pitso Mosimane at the time, but there was something that was so vibrant about the Supersport United that we're sort of missing right now.
So then Pitso moves on to Sundowns, and he does the same thing, and he goes overseas, and he does the same thing. And as much as we had these superstars in our teams, but you'd never see it. You'd see the team. I think that so Pitso would call you and say to you, "Hey, my man, where are you?" I said, "No, coach, I'm at home." "Okay, shall I put the phone down?" And then when I call, your wife must pick up all your confidence. You do that. You do that.
No, that's true.
So he would know everyone's personal, sort of like what Sir Alex Ferguson would do.
Yeah, I came.
Player management.
Yes, I came. I got a new car, and I stood at the robot, and he was coming, and I knew it was coming. He was coming, and he just glanced at me, and we go and whatever, go park whatever we train, and I think I miskicked or something, and he says, "Yeah, because I see you got a new car now." And then he said it. "When are you buying?" He said it on training. He says, "When are you buying the house? Because you need a TV and you need DSTV to watch your games." And same year, bought a house. And now I understand, okay, so he's taking care of us more than what he's taking. So he's coaching you as a player, and then you want to give everything to him. And I'm not surprised that where he's gone, he's done exactly the same thing. You know, players speaks highly about him. Yes, he has his things in order way. Sometimes other people won't agree, but as a player personally, he took care of me as a son. I felt like I was his son. He took care of me first. Don't come with we're playing a final, now you're coming with new boots on the Friday because you're playing on TV. You must put that to the side. No, the ones that you're comfortable with. So he constantly used to take care of us, you know. So I think at the time that we came, because like I said again, I came to Supersport. I didn't know who players was. Because I never wanted to play. I was never a football. Oh, this one. I didn't even know who Pitso was. There was a time when I didn't know who he was.
Forgiven for that.
Yeah, and I met him the first time, and I was like, "Oh, who are you?" Like, "Oh, I'm Pitso." Like I didn't know. Ended up where last year in December, I got invited to his house in Houghton, and I made dessert, and we had lunch as a family. You know, all these years later. You know, and you go to his house and you see all these trophies and you see your face there. And it's so nice, you know.
Feeling,
this guy's been all over, and yet, you know, and when you're there, it doesn't make you feel like, because we know that he's got money now, you know, but it doesn't make you feel like, he's still, how are you doing, what's happening, when last did you buy this, you know, he still takes care of you. And I think that's what he did with us, because there was a lot of big names there, you know, but we played as a team.
And I bring up this specific season because, like we're saying, it's the first season you win a trophy, but it also made you captain that same time, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
How is it that you're walking into a team and already, I'm bad?
Because again, you come, I didn't know who Temba was as well. Sure. Everyone knew Temba. I didn't know who Kaitano was. It was big. Zimbabwean, I didn't know. And I come into this team of leaders, and yet he chooses me to be a leader. And I was like, okay. So also at the time, I wasn't a good player. A lot of people, I felt like I was average. But because of the people that was around me, my game lifted. You know, and I think with leadership, all throughout my life, if I look back, I think my earliest memory of leadership when I was 3 years old, took my cousin, I stole, you know, I don't know, here's my age now. The jam with the black, with the fruit on and it's red inside. I don't know if you know that jam. Anyways, I took my cousin and I laid him onto the field, and I still remember, I still have the cut, and that's my earliest memory of leadership. And throughout my life and I've always been a leader, but everywhere where I went was just added. And I'm listening, and I know he's also, and I'm listening to the story. I'm listening to you. It's the first time I actually listen. Like I didn't know, and it's like I'm so excited. Like you know, but it's so awesome that we can still talk about all these things that's good and how we've grown throughout, and coming in and lifting the trophy, and then going on to lift another trophy the next year was the EPSA, and then when Gavin came back to Supersport, him 10 years as a coach, me 10 years as a player, we win the league, and we win the league 3 times in a row.
True. That must have been a great feeling.
But Leo, it makes me angry. That season 3 times in a row.
Why?
We were number 2, my man. Always number 2, number 3.
Sure, behind the Supersport. And Supersport also didn't have fans. They had a band, you know.
We had a band, yes.
They still have a band.
And
right
Soli Moholo playing in the background.
So Soli Moholo was...
Kina yo Murena. That's all I remember of Supersport supporters. I don't know anything else.
It was blessing you guys.
It was blessing, yeah. But it was good days, you know. Yeah.
But that time when you started Supersport and also get the captaincy in the team, how did it change you? You know, mindset, where you coming from? Because you didn't love football the way you were loving football. After you won the trophy and the captain, how did it change you just mentally as a person from there? Started from it, because I feel like it's when you started to concentrate more in football than any other things.
For me, with the leadership came where now you, and as captain, sometimes you have a bad game, but then the team is doing well. You know, and I think for me, taking care of people, I think that took over. So it wasn't just being the captain, it was making sure that that St. Pool also gets you training on time. I was also never late for work. But then, hey, why are you late? You know, we're working, we're waiting for you, and making sure that I once got a call at 3 o'clock in the morning, one of the players, I won't mention the name, drunk. His car was wrapped around the tree, called me. I was the one person he could call. I asked him, why did you call me? It's like, he said, because, and it wasn't because I was the captain, he says, because anyone else would have called the coach, but I know you wouldn't. And I took him and whatever, and long story short, the player then went on to go to Europe and all those things. And even in moments like this, you think, but God, like why not me? Why not me? But now when you have a family as well, I've got a wife, Adelaide, and I've got Chloe that's doing matric, my daughter, Aiden that's grade 11, and Ryan that's grade 6. So now when you have a family, you all realize all those leadership things, and when you took care of people now, it's coming back into the house, and you know, you take care and you make sure that there's enough for everyone, and you know, and I think my leadership going to Supersport was, I was amongst guys that could lead the team without the armband, and yet I was chosen to lead the team. But I was more there for people that, I was the one guy that could go into, and there's this thing, you know, at Supersport we had foreigners, change room, we had the colored change room. Yeah. You don't know, Supersport had the most colors in the team at the time. There was one game we played in Durban against
Why the division?
Zulu.
I don't understand.
No, it wasn't division. I was building the story. We went to Durban the one day, Thunder Zulu Rose, and we were 9 colored people in the starting lineup. We won the game 2-1. Anyways, so I think God has given me that ability to go. I could sit in any of those change rooms and speak to the guys. You know, I could go into the white change room, I could go into the colored one, I could go into the black one, go into the and I could, and I can relate. And even now, so many years later, I can still relate with a lot of the guys. A lot of the guys still call me and all those things. You know, I can relate. For me, and again, coming from Cape Town, I don't see myself as a colored like what has happened in the past and all those things. I see myself as a human being, a person that can actually help other people. You know, so color for me is not an issue. I want to be honest, because I think personally I've dealt with it. You know, we still get it.
We'll get to
that.
We'll get to it. I mean, Aubrey, I want to jump to, because you've now experienced, we spoke about the whistle incident, which was part of the conversation I wanted to have about understanding how it felt like at that point to have that journey in the Nedbank Cup, because it was still a new tournament at that time. I think maybe it was 3 or 4 years in at the time. And for Tuks to push themselves that far, I think you guys were one of the first teams that actually showed us what a young team could be able to do. But fast forward, you go to join Black Aces, where you're now coached by Steve Barker's uncle, Clive Barker. Tell me more about that time and how you actually made the decision to go to Black Aces the first time, because I do know it was a loan deal from Pirates.
Yeah. I think having to play for Clive Barker made me understand why the guys won the AFCON in '96. Because, you know, he was such a very good motivator. I can tell you now, you could feel that you've had your worst game. After the game, when Clive comes to you and speaks to you, you feel different completely, because he wants you to be ready for the next game. You know, and that's how I felt, you know, from moving from Steve Barker to Clive Barker. I had good relationships with the Barkers. So for me, it was coming from Orlando Pirates on loan, you know, for me to play for Aces, just, you know, to get that feeling again, because remember, for me to go on loan, it meant I didn't play enough at Pirates. So I go to Aces now. Clive makes me one of the important players where I play every game. You know, so it felt good to be playing again, and that moved on to the next season and the next and the next.
I wonder how it felt like. I don't know if you guys remember that Black Aces team. It had Onyeka Chokong, Obum Besuma. It had everybody under the sun. But Dennis Onyango were there as well. But at your young age at the time, how did it feel like sharing the field with some of these experienced players? And I think a young Temba Zwane was also in that team as well.
Yeah, when I arrived, that's the season when Temba got called back to Sundowns. Yeah, but for me it was a unbelievable feeling, because growing up, I was supporting Orlando Pirates. So there was a period where Pirates was so dominant, just not winning the league. I think they finished twice. Yes, the Costa Din Public season. And remember, Onyekachi Okongo was playing for Pirates in that season. So for me to actually get to Aces now and play with him, the person that I used to watch and support, it was an unbelievable feeling that I'm here now. So this should, give some hope to other guys that inspire to play football from my hometown. So it was an unbelievable feeling to play with those guys. I played with old Jema Bizela, top talent on the field, but crazy off the field.
Say less.
Top.
He was a top defender.
Top defender. One of the best defenders I've played with.
Sure. Ricardo, we're going to close up the conversation because time is just not on our side. He mentioned Umbesum. I want to talk about that final, 2004 and 5, SAA Super 8. Use Boniso Katza. Use Boniso Katza, making sure that you are taming this beast, because Mbesum at that time was a complete beast. It was a different breed. And then later on in the same season, I think you guys lost another final to Kaizer Chiefs. Yeah. But that one that you guys won, what was the feeling that you had? Because this was the first trophy you ever won.
Yeah, I got a 9 out of 10 for that game.
9 out of 10.
I got a 9 out of 10. You don't get...
It's not easy to get 9 out of 10.
Especially against Mbesuma
Yeah.
at that time.
Yeah. So Phil Evans scored a penalty in the 14th minute, and like I said earlier, we defended for 75 minutes. Atazwani was coming. It was just coming. But again, that's why I say, going back to when I said that Pa was probably the best player that I've played, I always thought that he was like way above the level that he was playing because he was a youngster. So the two of us, we had an understanding. We would fight a lot though, but we had this understanding that once we walk onto the field, no one can pass us. So that game in Durban, I don't know how many people there was, but all I remembered was Calvin Mullen got injured in the semi-final. So we had Wendell Robertson being there.
So the Sundowns goalkeeper coach.
Yeah, he used to wear this long pants. You'd see this long pants flying here the whole time behind us. Every time when we made a mistake, he would save us and do whatever, And obviously that was the start of, me winning 6 trophies at Supersport, which I can look back to. And yeah, it was good moments. I was proud, to play. And the quality of the players, he went to go play in England, Basuma. But his legs was probably twice my size.
Still up.
Yeah, but I knew that the one thing that, it's still, yeah, okay.
Still up.
I thought no one heard that. But you knew that if he rolls you, you're gone. So you made sure that you were on that side where he couldn't roll you. So yeah, we were switched on, but I think there was a hunger, to succeed. And I remembered I got player of the tournament. So we were sitting in December, we played a game in Durban. They did a small thing, and then I didn't have my jacket on. So before they announced the player of the tournament, I said, James, let me put the jacket, just in case they call me. They called me. I got 20,000 rand cash, and it was a couple of months before my wedding. And then the wedding, and I paid for the wedding already. So imagine that.
So you had more money to spend on everything else.
Yeah. So, and even that in itself, meeting Pitso the first time with my then girlfriend, became my fiance, still my wife, married for 19 years, 3 kids, and things could have gone so many other ways. I always say if God has given me, if I had any other female in my life, she would have left me for the things that we've done. And also, just on the side, you think that things don't happen to certain people, and there's a lot of things that came to stand in front of my door. And when it was tough, she stood with me. And many years later, when that year came where I had to retire before, I remembered in 2005, I told her, I said, you're not going to be a footballer's wife. I said, go and work, because when I met you, you were studying and you had this career. And when that unfortunate time came for me to stop, and beforehand, and we could rely on a salary and all those things, So I'm so grateful for my family and what God has done for me, and the clubs and the people that I've played with, and guys like this.
I'm actually grateful that I'm sitting with 3 footballers who are married with kids, and it's a great example. It's not the norm that you see in South African football. It's not the norm. But before we close it, Aubrey, we can't not talk about the 2016-17 season. I mean, we can have you here and speak about everything else, but we cannot talk about that season. The season that you got player of the season, Cape Town City. Start from the move itself.
Yeah,
because
from the beginning.
It was Black Aces, and then want to find out what happened. What do you know happened? Because the team then had to move to Cape Town. A lot of players decided not to. You decided to go, and you then went on to have one of the best times.
And I remember he was still a Pirates player by then.
He was still a Pirates player at the time. So please touch on that story.
I think when we heard that the Black Aces is being sold to Cape Town, I was one of the players that I was excited about the adventure because at some point I wanted to play for Ajax, I wanted to play for Ajax. So I thought, okay, this is my opportunity to go play in Cape Town. And the chairman called me, the Cape Town City chairman called me and said, yeah, you're one of the players that I selected to bring with to Cape Town. And there was about, I think, 13 or 14 of us that moved with the team to Cape Town. I think 14 of us played together at Black Aces. Now we moved to Cape Town. We had to build that brotherhood, that friendship, because now we felt like we were moving to an island, because now we don't know anybody that side. Now we had ourselves in the beginning. But fortunate enough, we were asking ourselves a whole lot of questions, because now there's 14 of us. Now who's the coach? We hear it's no longer going to be Mushin, because Mushin was our coach last season of Black Aces. And we hear now the coach is going to be Eric Tinkler. We don't even know the name of the team that time. The team is moving to Cape Town. What's the name? We don't know. We find out as we arrive in Cape Town, oh, this is going to be the name of the team, okay. And from there we built this brotherhood and understanding amongst those 14 players. And the coach and the chairman, they do a great job in bringing everyone together. All the new players, the players that were brought in, I think they added so much value to the team. We wouldn't be that team with just 14 players. We needed everyone. And from there, I think things just started happening, because we won the first game. I think we played Polokwane City. We won 2-0. The following game, it was, I think, who did we play? I think it was Chiefs in the MTN. It was the MTN 8 game. And I think we lost 1-0. But I think we played well. And then from there on, things just started happening. We started gelling, started, looking like a team, and we understood each other. The new guys also added a lot of value. So we were just cruising, and we enjoyed playing, especially in Cape Town. Because that was one of the best stadiums you can play in. We made sure that nobody comes to Cape Town and get points. That was mandate for us.
At that time, it was you, Kaka,
Manyama,
and what was the strike? Majoro, ne?
It was Majoro.
Yes.
Masina.
And, Dennis Masina.
We have Judas Musiame.
Sure.
On the wing, we had Jahia.
And we had
it was a bit.
Obingo.
Yeah, it was a bit of. It was a balanced team, because it was youth and the middle-aged guys, and we had they brought in the experience of Robin Johannes at the back, who's one of the best centre backs I've played with, and we had Parks Kobola with his experience. They brought. We had. Shoaib Walters in goals.
Who was actually brilliant. I think that was his best time. Was in Cape Town as well.
I think you would also say the same thing. I think most of those players that played in that season, I think we had the best season of our lives in that season, because to go on and win trophy in our first season as Black Aces, as a Cape Town CCT, for us it was an achievement, because we went on also to finish third behind Vets and Sundowns. We could have easily won the league if I think we needed a bit of depth. If we had depth, because if I remember the one game that lost us the league is the game we lost against Maritzburg in Maritzburg. From there on, because there were about 5 games left, we lost we lost that game, and Sundowns and Vets now started picking up momentum. And I think in the last 5, I think we won 2, lost 2, and draw 1. So it was
to the question of
Sure.
to the guys, was it? Kanale nje. Tukuthi Who's the best defender owakumaka nje okuhluphayo wena?
Sure.
On your side since you started uthi yabona mangihlangana no Happy so ngilibona ngidlalayo.
I think the defender that gave me a problem every time I had to think about going to face him was Uvuyo Mera.
Really? Serious?
I think his understanding of the game made it a bit difficult for me to receive the ball and try to take him on. Sure. Because he was, I think, a step ahead every time when I had to get on the ball.
He was steps ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Because
still playing
maybe
even now.
he was senior, he's a senior and more
More
experienced.
experience. So when we had to play Platinum Stars, I was like, oh God, I'm going to play against
Uvuyo
Uvuyo again.
Skipper, best striker that you ever marked?
I'll say Knowledge my son.
Ooh.
Because, you know,
I agree.
you know, you get those players that plays here, then you get those players that plays here, and then you get him that plays here, there, and there, and there. And then, yeah, I think with him, he brought the best out of me. I hated it, but it was the best thing ever.
He was keeping you on toes.
He was, you don't know he's here and then he's here. And you know it's difficult when they're on the side.
Sure.
No, that's top.
How many goals in your career?
Me, 29.
Headers, Baba. You just knew if it was coming in, you knew that Ricardo
set
Katza was there.
Set piece, it was a penalty.
It
for
was
them.
always him.
Set piece for them, it was a
So now
penalty.
you've got only free kicks, ne?
I've got.
You've never scored with the head.
The thing is, I never, for some reason, I never enjoyed scoring. I enjoyed assisting.
Oh, okay.
But when I score some delicious.
Shama celebrate.
You can ask Jody February. You can ask Tumelen Kune. You can ask them.
Ask them. No,
Like when you score, it's a special one.
It's nice goal.
You know, gentlemen, time is just, I know you guys have your own obligations that you need to get to as well. So thank you so much for spending time with us. I do hope you come back because there's so much to break down. We still didn't get to Pirates, we didn't get to Sundowns, Aubrey, Ricardo, we didn't get to Bafana
didn't get
Bafana.
to Supersport.
We didn't get to it properly because I want the story of who then told everyone that this guy is actually not a foreigner. He can represent Bafana Bafana because I think the story was everyone thought you were a foreigner. They thought either you're from Zimbabwe or Namibia. And then eventually, you were thrown into the national team and you stood there right up until 2010, unfortunately, the World Cup. You see, there's so much you need to talk about. So please, do come back.
So before I go, I was offered Namibian citizenship. I went there as a 19-year-old,
Okay.
turning 20.
Okay.
I went there for 3 days. I went for 2 weeks. I went for 3 days.
Okay.
After the first training session, they wanted to give me a job. They wanted to give me a wife. They wanted to give me a Namibian. I said no.
No, we need to have that conversation.
But it's good. Thank you so much for having us. Really a privilege, and also for your staff. It's amazing that we can still talk about good things. Sure. We can tell you the other stuff as well, but that's what I like
know them. But
I think for us, we strive on not bad mouthing people. Because you don't know where you're going to end up. So also for the food, it's all my favorites in one place.
It looks good, eh?
It's nice. But thank you for having us. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, we are nibbling. We are
Never
nibbling,
touched
guys.
anything.
No, I did.
But thank you, guys. Thank you for your time, guys. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for hosting us, guys. This was warm up. There has to be first half, second half.
You know what
maybe
it
extra
is.
time and
You know what it
penalties.
is. You know what it is. Nah, thank you so much. Happy, thank you so much as well to you. We are doing big things and big things are still to come.
Big things are still to come, my brother.
That's how we wrap it up. It is iDiski Dine, episode 3. Make sure to like and subscribe and make sure that on the social media platforms you're checking us out as well. Look, we're going nowhere. Football stories will be told, and more especially local football stories in a positive light, like what Ricardo said as well. That's what we're all about right here on iDiski Dine. We're breaking bread with the stars.